Alright, so let's talk about something slightly happier. A principal was fired for his LGBTQ plus kindness class. His community is fighting back. So, yeah, it's not awesome that he was fired for it, because, why get fired for wanting to spread empathy? But the fact that people aren't taking it lying down, yeah, that's awesome. All right. A middle school community in Virginia is fighting back after their principal was fired for starting an LGBTQ plus kindness flex time class to provide a safe space for LGBTQ plus students. Dr. Jerry Putt, Frederick County Middle School's principal since 2017, has been removed from his role after a divisive debate at the school board over his actions, the Winchester Gazette reports. The controversy erupted on Tuesday at the Frederick County School Board meeting, where a conservative faction of parents and board members argued that the LGBTQ plus kindness class deviated from state-approved curricula and called it inappropriate. I would love to see how it deviated. Probably because people, and I have seen this in comments on some of my posts, that schools are meant to just teach reading, writing, and arithmetic. And people seem to have forgotten that no, that isn't what the only thing schools have been teaching for a while. And why do they teach more than that? Because kids aren't getting the appropriate education at home. If their parents were teaching them about, sex ed, teaching them the birds and the bees and this and that, well, then schools wouldn't have to. But because there are parents who are bigots and kids need a safe space to learn about themselves, schools have to pick up the slack. So, I'm assuming that that's what makes it inappropriate. The leader of the group in opposition to the class was a Bach Creek District resident named Chris Davey, who claimed the optional class was perverted. Yes, because as we all know, if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community, you are, by definition, a pervert. Seriously, I do not understand why people keep calling the community perverted. Just because you, in your brain, associate any sexual orientation that isn't straight with sex only, that's on you. That is not how reality works. Because I can only assume that that's what it means. He faulted Putt for permitting it without parental notice and took his frustrations to the school board, where he found a sympathetic audience. The board put school staff on notice that unsanctioned curriculum additions wouldn't be tolerated and could be grounds for termination. 2 days later, they made beloved Principal Putt an example. On Thursday, the school community received notice from District Superintendent Dr. George Hummer announcing Dr. Putt's removal without explanation, along with an introduction to an interim principal. Okay, the fact that they can't even be bothered to give an explanation, that just screams, we know we are doing something wrong. Because if they truly felt that that the principal did something wrong, then state it. But the fact that they couldn't even tell the community screams that they know that they're in the wrong. Wendy Werner, a former counselor at the school, described the events as appalling and criticized parents at the board meeting as hateful and uninformed. Now she and other community members are fighting back with a grassroots campaign to reinstate PUT, starting with an online petition that has already garnered nearly 1,300 signatures in the small town and has served as a forum to describe how the board and parents' rights advocates have done a disservice to the community with their campaign of anti-LGBTQ+ hate. One local resident called the board's decision misguided. The principal is out because he created opportunities for all students during the school day, and that was off script. Luke Mason wrote, questioning whether other extracurricular activities like the four-wheeler club or pep rallies would face similar scrutiny. Of course, we know the answer to that. Sonia Marfatia Good raised the issue of discrimination, explaining one parent wanted the LGBTQ+ flex canceled, but to keep all of flex for everyone else. I wouldn't be surprised if the division was sued over this, she said with a warning of repercussions. Marfatia Good said the divisive environment at a recent school board meetings was having an effect on kids. Children pay attention, and they are finding out that if you don't want something, you yell and yell until you get your way, she wrote. That sounds like something toddlers do. Seriously, I'm glad that this community is fighting back against the small amount of bigots who seem to think that they know better how to raise everybody's children. I only hope that of those parents who are freaking the fuck out over this class, I hope that none of their kids were benefiting from this class. Because could you imagine knowing that, you're a kid, you're taking advantage of this flex because you're an LGBTQ+ student, and realizing to your horror that your being closeted to your parents was the right decision. Because that's what they actually think of you. I mean, I really hope that none of these kids belong to those parents, because that would be horrible. Even though a part of me wishes that it is true, because sometimes the only way to get these people to actually develop even an iota of empathy is if they are suddenly in this position. So a part of me hopes that it's true, that some of those kids belong to them, and they're going to realize really damn quick that either they're going to have to ostracize their kids, or they're going to have to realize that this isn't the perversion you think it is. So, I keep coming back to people claiming that being anything but straight is somehow about sex, when these are the same people who develop shirts for babies like Ladies Man or Lady Killer or something of that sort. It's the straight people who are sexualizing children. But it's the LGBT plus community that's perverted. We're not the ones who are sexualizing children here. We're not the ones who are making these cutesy shirts or asking the 4-year-old, do you have a girlfriend? Or do you have a boyfriend? Or if they happen to have a friend of the opposite gender to push on them that they're boyfriend and girlfriend when they're literally just friends who happen to be of the opposite sex. It is just maddening how that's perfectly okay, but liking someone of the same gender, oh, that's beyond the pale. Because let's face it, they don't think about the rest of the letters. I mean, that just makes zero sense. But then again, bigotry doesn't make any sense. I mean, I just do not understand how you can excuse certain behaviors for straight people, but if gay people do it, it's somehow wrong. I mean, what are you afraid of, that they're going to develop a crush on you? I can assure you, your hatefulness is going to prevent that. Nobody's going to want you. So anyway, that is all I have for this article. I hope that this principal gets his job back, because that is just beyond stupid. I mean, do you really want to be known as the person who stood up against empathy? Really? That's what we're going for? Anyway, that is all I have for this article. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video.